Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in on the episode 40 of the 504 Core Podcast. We're rolling today. Big day today, National Signing Day. Zack, I'm gonna lead it off to you. There's a lot of ways you can take it. Let's just start off with Terry Bussey. Let's start off with that.
Yeah,
What's the latest with that?
yeah, Mike. We were kind of talking about it before we started the podcast and stuff. I was telling him that was probably one of the craziest recruitments I've ever seen. Just because there were so many different angles to it. Obviously, he's been committed to Texas A&M since September, and he committed to A&M right off of an official visit to LSU, and LSU thought they had momentum, but he was always going to remain in Texas. Was the kind of like general feel for this one, and he pledged to A&M, and then the fire kind of started in College Station. You saw Jimbo Fisher get fired. You saw all these different coaching changes happen with the Aggies, and rather than signing during the early signing period in December, he said, "I'm going to hold off. I'm going to wait. I'm going to see what changes are made." And he did just that. Over the last month and a half, the LSU coaching staff had changes, A&M had changes, and ultimately, when it came down to it, over the last, let's say, 10 to 14 days, Bussey went ahead and took a trio of visits. He went and visited Georgia last weekend, or I guess 2 weekends ago, and then he visited LSU on Wednesday for a midweek visit. And then fast forward to 3-4 days ago, he went back to College Station for a multi-day stay, and he was there on Saturday and Sunday. They got the last visit from him, and the general consensus was LSU had all the momentum in this one, and they did. He was trending LSU's way. A lot of people thought that it could go in that direction for LSU. You had people within the LSU ops building who felt pretty confident that it could go in that direction, and he's a loyal guy. Bussey's been through a lot in his life, and he remained loyal to his commitment to Texas A&M. And here we are, National Signing Day Wednesday morning. His decision was at 9 a.m., and he wasted no time. He sat down at the table and took 2-3 minutes and put pen to paper and signed to A&M. So is it a loss for LSU? I don't think it's a loss. I think it would have been the cherry on top, per se. They already have, 3 5-stars already committed in Trades Green, Weston Davis, and now Dominic McKinley just put pen to paper before we hopped on here 20 minutes ago. So you got 3 5-stars, you got a top 5 class in the 2024 cycle, and LSU's rolling. So does it suck to not get an instant impact player in Terry Bussey, like the number 1 athlete in America? Yeah, I mean, it hurts, but it stings, but it doesn't necessarily hurt this program in the long haul because you have so much talent already. Would have just simply been the cherry on top.
Yeah, and then it's always interesting to see how LSU fans take things because they don't take things well. But yeah, no, I wouldn't say it's a loss. He's always committed to them. It's not like he was committed to LSU and then flipped, or But yeah, he could have definitely played at LSU right away. It seems like at least that's what they pitched to him, right? Didn't they pitch him kind of like as a Swiss Army knife role?
Oh,
Did you know
man,
anything
dude,
about
Terry
that?
Bussey can do everything. I mean, he's the number 1 athlete in America for a reason. He played quarterback for Timpson. He played in the secondary, return specialist. I mean, he could have impacted the game in so many different ways. And like you said, that was LSU's pitch to him, was that he can be a Swiss Army knife. He can, impact the game in all 3 phases. And a lot of teams were recruiting him as strictly a defensive back or strictly a safety or a nickel. But for LSU, they were like, screw it. Like, we can have you on the field in so many different ways. And that was the pitch. And ultimately, he remained loyal to his commitment to Texas A&M. And his guardians and his camp were, not necessarily pushing for College Station or pushing for A&M, but they certainly wanted him to stay a little bit closer to home, and that's what happened here. And fast forward to National Signing Day, he's an Aggie.
Yeah, and then obviously it's a new age of college football too. So A&M has a down year, doesn't want to stay. LSU still needs help in whatever ways, or they still want them. You could always transfer. So yeah, I don't really look at kids committing somewhere as like losses these days because it's so fluid. I mean, it seems like every top tier program loses between 10 and 20 kids every year. So yeah, I mean, playing time and transfer portal, NIL, it's just so fluid today. But was LSU like actually really that close to getting him, or was
Oh
it?
yeah, I mean his final 3 came down to LSU, Georgia, and Texas A&M, and A&M was kind of like Georgia was kind of like a filler just because
She's
initially he took the
that.
official visit to Alabama, but
Mhm.
one of their coaches went to the Georgia staff, and so Georgia was kind of like a filler in my opinion. And from everything that I heard, LSU gave him a ton to think about, and he didn't. He was talking to both coaching staffs last night. He had a basketball game at 7:30. He led Timpson to a 20-point comeback win, and he talked to LSU staff before the game. He talked to LSU staff after the game. LSU talked to him this morning. No decision was technically made until probably right when he put pen to paper. It was something that was coming down to the final buzzer, and it was kind of a thing where, look, like LSU had momentum. LSU thought they were in a good position, but it was a type of thing where they felt in good position, but wouldn't be surprised if he signed with A&M. And ultimately, he went to with the loyalty that he's known for, and went with A&M.
Well,
It was a pretty unique recruitment. I'll tell you that much. It reminded me a lot of Harold Perkins last year, and I mean, or 2 years ago, and it's crazy. It was a crazy last couple of hours, crazy last 36 hours.
you know what I did love to see? I did love to see the LSU recruits step up. I mean, they all really push for him. Keelan Moses, you've talked to him a good bit. He seems to be spearheading a lot, even though he's a class after him. But yeah, I mean, you saw it on Twitter. They LSU people try to stand up and recruit him as hard as they could. So obviously, it's his final decision. I could never blame a kid for staying at home. If you're in Texas, go to Texas or Texas A&M. I'll never fault the kid for that. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. If A&M has a down year or whatever it may be. Was NIL a big factor in his recruitment? Did you hear anything about that? Or
No,
was it a
this
whole
wasn't one of
thing?
those NIL type recruitments, from what I was told. It was really just coming down to where he felt most comfortable, and it really became Texas A&M. I think player development is something that he looks forward to, or looks in, as do all recruits. And I think he knew he could be developed really well in Baton Rouge. But I think he also felt the exact same way with Texas A&M, and loyal to his commitment. Felt comfortable with a lot of the players there, a lot of the staff, a lot of different things. And this wasn't an NIL recruitment. And like you said, I have had the chance to talk to Keelan Moses quite a few times, and that's a guy who puts on his recruiting cap every single day, and he was pushing. Man, he was pushing for Bussey, but at the end of the day, here we are. It is what it is.
Yeah, and then the other big fish LSU had to reel in was Dominic McKinley. Took him a little while to sign. Well, not really, but took him a little time to sign. Anything you want to expand on that, or?
Yeah, I mean, look, Dominic McKinley was a guy who was committed to Texas A&M. LSU, at the end of the day, flipped 4 Texas A&M commitments. Terry Bussey would have been the 5th one. That would have been 5 for 5. You
That'd have been
flipped,
crazy.
3-star offensive lineman Cohen Eccles. You flipped 4-star defensive lineman Gabriel Relaford, and you flipped 5-star offensive lineman Weston Davis. And then fast forward to today, and you finally got pen to paper for Dominic McKinley, a 5-star defensive lineman. And this is the number 1 player in Louisiana. This is a guy that LSU's been pushing for months on months on months. And on New Year's Eve, out of nowhere, literally like caught so many people by surprise, they got him to pop. And he revealed his decision. He backed off his A&M commitment and flipped to LSU. And this is a guy that fills a position of need. LSU does not have very many defensive linemen on that roster right now. And I think you look at somebody like Dominic McKinley, and a lot of people are going to say he might not be ready to make an instant impact. And despite not being ready, man, he's going to need to do that. So the next couple of months are going to be super key for him. He won't get to Baton Rouge until late May, early June. He's a summer enrollee. So this is a guy who's going to have a big next couple of months in the weight room. And Bo Davis kind of has his guy for the future now in McKinley. And then you can also add in, what is it? You can also add in Gabriel Relaford too. So you got some bodies coming in, but McKinley, man, that's a blue chipper. That's now your top signee. That's a 5-star, top 20 prospect in America. And LSU needed it, and they got it today on National Signing Day. It's the only guy that'll sign for him.
They said he's not ready. Like, is that just a physicality thing, or is that
I
just kind
think
of a technique
McKinley
thing?
is the type of guy whose potential can jump off the page. I mean, he's got all the physical intangibles, but it's going to take a little bit more time for his technique to develop more and get ready for the SEC. And I think he can be ready. I think these next couple of months are going to be crucial. And I think Bo Davis has a nice little piece of clay that he can mold into whatever he wants it to be.
Does he project more inside or outside?
He's going to be a defensive tackle. He's going to be inside.
Yeah, LSU definitely needs that. Aren't they looking at some guy from JUCO? What's his
Yeah,
name?
Jaleel Muhammad is a guy that
Yeah.
is at Garden City Community College, and a lot of people were questioning if he would sign today. But given he still has to finish out the semester at the JUCO ranks, he's probably going to be a guy who could enroll in May or whatever. But nothing set in stone with him just yet. But that's a guy that they're targeting. Yeah.
Yeah, targeting. Have you heard anything else like Morrill or anyone else their D tackle? I mean, like you said, they
No,
are pretty thin.
it's really just Jaleel Muhammad is the guy that they're looking at and talking to right now. He's got a lot of upside. Like, this is a guy who's supposed to enroll at Arkansas State and stuff. Like, he's a caliber guy, and he went the JUCO route and developed a lot. His numbers don't jump off the page, but the physical intangibles are crazy. He's like 6'5", 6'6", 280. A guy that Bo Davis thinks that he could develop into a big player. He's multiple years of eligibility. So, like I said, we'll see if they can actually lock that one in, but I would not be surprised if LSU, sealed the deal with that one.
Yeah, he's gonna be like a rotational guy. Is that the idea?
We'll see. we'll see.
Yeah.
He could be a guy that they need to step in and fill a big role.
Yeah, that's what's scary about LSU is their D line is I think Womack will have a big year, but Guillory's solid, but then everything else is kind of. I wish Wingo or Mason Smith would have stayed, but
Hell
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that is what it is. And then what's the latest with DJ Pickett? I saw he visited Oregon the other day, but what the Corey Raymond effect seems like it's there. So I know DJ Pickett, and then who's the other guy?
Dorian Brew.
Yeah, the cornerback.
Hmm.
Yeah, you want to talk about them?
Yeah, DJ Pickett. That's like we were saying before. We were kind of talking about McKinley and talking about how he's a big fish. But I mean, dude, DJ Pickett's a guy who wasn't even LSU didn't even have him. He wasn't even on LSU's radar, or rather, the other way around. LSU wasn't even on his radar. So DJ Pickett, number one safety in America in the 2025 class. LSU's actually recruiting him as a corner, is what I was told. Corey Raymond, jumped into the fold, got to Baton Rouge, and put the foot on the gas for Pickett because that was a guy that he was recruiting at Florida. And now that Raymond's in Baton Rouge, it's the type of thing where, the guys that he was recruiting at Florida, he's now recruiting to LSU. So look now, and you got somebody like DJ Pickett who got to campus last week for a midweek visit. And it was a pretty good trip from what I was told. He arrived Tuesday night. He stayed the full day Wednesday for his visit and left Thursday morning and immediately picked up and, like you said, went on to Oregon, went to Eugene to go see Dan Lanning and company. So just sticking on Pickett. It's a long, lanky guy, man. That's a guy that Corey Raymond likes. He loves his rangy, tall, lengthy guys. And that's a guy that, Pickett kind of checks off all the boxes for him. So LSU did well. Some might say that LSU might be at the top of his list now, even though they weren't in his top 5. But he's probably expanding that to a top 7 now, and he's going to add LSU and Oregon into the mix too, alongside schools like Georgia, Michigan, Alabama, Florida, etc. So he's got all the blue bloods in basketball or in football, as you'd say. So LSU's heavily in the mix, and they're going to be battling for an official visit for him now. And another guy that you were talking about was Dorian Brew, 4-star cornerback, borderline 5-star cornerback. And LSU got him in as a surprise visitor this weekend, and nobody kind of expected it. He kind of just popped in out of nowhere. And some people have him crystal ball to Ohio State. Some people still have him, still weighing his options. But LSU's going to be battling for an official visit for Dorian Brew, and this is a guy that they're putting their foot on the gas for. And these two guys specifically in the 2025 class, Corey Raymond is pushing for in a big, big way. So yeah, Pickett got to campus, Brew got to campus, and we'll see LSU kind of put their foot on the gas over the next couple of weeks because the entire month of February now is a dead period. So you can't have in-person contact with recruits, but you can have phone contact, FaceTime, Zoom, and that type of nature. So you bet that they'll be in his ear over the next couple of weeks pushing for an official visit this spring.
Yeah. On Brew, I heard one of his parents went to ran track. Was his mom that ran track at Ohio State or his dad? And then the other parent went to LSU. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah,
So
there's a split. There's a split there for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, Corey Raymond, I heard someone say like, as soon as he got there, it's like he never left. He was immediately recruiting. So, I mean, he's kind of on a prove it deal too. I mean, what is he on a 3-year deal? And that third year is not even, it's almost like a team option, like an NBA kind of thing. So, yeah, I mean, Corey Raymond, if you get a hungry Corey Raymond with the staff, look out. So, you already see it paying dividends with Jabari Antoine, is that how you say his name?
Yeah,
he recruited him like almost instantly. So, and then now you're seeing all these DBs come back. One DB they did lose was Jalen Bell. You want to dive a little bit into that?
My thing with Jalen Bell is he's super talented, and I don't want to say anything and talk bad on a kid, but I just don't think he was technically on Corey Raymond's big board. I don't think this was a guy that LSU is necessarily looking at as a loss. I don't think he was just on their big board. And as they continue battling the scholarship count, you have to factor in things like this. And I'm never going to use the word processed. I don't think he was processed per se, but I would certainly say that this is a guy that might not have been on Corey Raymond's big board. I can't confirm or deny that, but he's recruiting heavily in the secondary right now. He's got a lot of cornerbacks on his radar. He's got a lot of safeties on his radar. He's got a lot of versatile weapons. And for me, I just don't think that Jalen Bell was fitting the mold for what Corey Raymond was necessarily looking for. And fast forward to this week or a couple of days ago, and he backed off his commitment and reopened his recruitment, and it gives him time to find a new home. Is really the best way that I could put it.
Yeah, no, everyone knows what you're saying, but I heard he didn't even start his junior year, right? Or is that true?
There were a couple of things about that I'll probably say yes, you're right too. I'll just say yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that was the previous staff's, or not staff. Well, I guess staff, um, Steeples guys. So yeah, I mean, Corey Raymond's going after the big fish. You love to see it. We got to get LSU's got to get DBU back. So hard to blame them. Yeah, I wish the kid the best, but yeah, I mean, he was only 155 pounds too. It's not like can I wait, but yeah, I mean, it's whenever you really deep dive into that recruitment, you can see, you can read the writing on the wall. So, yeah, all right, well, that's LSU recruitment for now. Super Bowl Sunday, Zach, who you got?
I know, dude. Like, I was talking to so many people about this, and my thing is, I just can't bet against Mahomes. Like, it hurts me to physically do that. Like, he can just do anything on any given night. But with that also being said, man, the 49ers' weapons are ridiculous. You look at that team, and obviously, like, I don't know. I just think of McCaffrey, Debo, however you want to slice it. They just have so many offensive weapons, and on the other side of the ball too, it's a super talented team. It's hard for me to pick or choose one. Um, I'll be damned, man. I can't bet against Mahomes. I guess I just have to go with Mahomes and the Chiefs.
Yeah, that's like everyone's logic. It seems like, I don't think either team's really been that impressive in the playoffs, if you ask me. I
Right?
mean,
Like, I agree.
yeah, so I mean, oh yeah, they beat the Ravens, cool, but the Ravens imploded on themselves, and Chiefs team is scoring the second half, so that's that. The Bills should have won that game, and then the Dolphins just did not look good in cold weather. But yeah, like you said, it's hard to bet against Mahomes. I don't think the Chiefs are the same teams they've been. 49ers haven't looked that great either. I mean, the Lions kind of blew it on that too. They should have lost that Packers game as well. So it's kind of a
Right?
toss up. The money's pretty much even money. I mean, I think San Fran's a 1.5 favorite. I think they did that on purpose because they know a lot of people are going to bet the Chiefs. So I think I don't know what the public money stands, but I feel like a lot of people are going to be on the Chiefs. Yeah, I don't really know. So you're rolling with the Chiefs on that one?
I guess so, dude. Like, I'm probably not even gonna be able to watch much of the game because I'm gonna be at Bacchus on Sunday, I think, if the weather permits. Um, Damn, if I even get to because LSU women's plays that day. Um, yeah, I'm gonna roll with the Chiefs. I'm gonna just say it just because I think the Niners obviously can do it, but it's a toss up. Like, it's a coin flip for me, and if I'm flipping the coin right this second, I'll probably go with the Chiefs.
Over unders 47.5. Um, oh, it's in Vegas. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I really don't know. If I had to bet it, just yeah. Well, I just break it down. It's like Brock Purdy versus Patrick Mahomes. I mean,
That's
of
what I'm
course.
saying. Like, do I really think Brock Purdy can knock off that team? Probably. He's a check down artist. Like, all he has to do is just check down either McCaffrey, Debo, whoever, Ayuk, whatever it is. I don't know. I'm gonna roll with the Chiefs. I'm gonna roll with the Chiefs.
All right, I'll roll with the Chiefs too. Don't feel great about it though,
I don't
but
feel good
let's
about
see.
it either. But if I had to pick at this exact moment, and like we're filming this on Wednesday, so we still got time to flip our picks. But yeah, for at this point at 11:30 a.m. on Wednesday, I'm rocking with the Chiefs. Screw
All right, I like it. Anything else you want to plug or add?
it. No, I mean National Signing Day is just a ridiculous day for me. It's a busy day, and something that we didn't even talk about was LSU added a preferred walk-on quarterback out of nowhere. Like
Oh,
I
I saw
I
that.
I
And
didn't even see that. No one saw that coming. But I mean, other than that, Dominic McKinley, it's the big fish that you got today. Terry Bussey, it is what it is. I'm happy that he's going to be staying close to home. And, you got the 2024 cycle finalized, done, finished. And now we move on to 2025. But not too much to talk about for us two, man. We got recruiting, Super Bowl picks. Anything you want to plug with Saints, Pels, anything? Or you
oh,
think
I
you
was going to
enjoy
ask
your
you.
day?
I was going to ask you a question before we go. Do the Pelicans tomorrow's not National Signing Day? Tomorrow's trade deadline. Do the Pels make a move? Yay or nay?
Nay.
I think it's gonna be extremely quiet tomorrow in the NBA. I don't think there's gonna be any big. I don't think there'll be any big trades tomorrow. I think there'll be like three guys that are like big names that'll be traded, in my opinion, and that'll be it. So
I know. I see
yeah,
like no
I don't.
blockbuster deals,
Yeah,
right?
I don't see anything major. You'll see a bunch of like second and third tier guys, or not a bunch, but I think you'll see a couple. But yeah, I don't think the Pels will do anything either. So we'll
Agreed.
see. But all right, we'll end it on that. If you guys can like and subscribe, we'd really appreciate it, and we'll see.